I'm going to assume that if you're here and watching this channel, you've at the very least heard of Okiku, one of Japan's most famous ghosts. The servant who died at the bottom of a well, and then spends her time night after night counting plates, screaming in anger when she can't find the missing 10th and broken plate. Today's Edo urban legend is a lesser known variant of that tale, because there are seemingly endless versions as to where Okiku lived, how she died, and why she keeps on haunting people. This one is perhaps my favourite, and it's an old legend about how the Okiku-mushi, or the Chinese windmill butterfly, got its nickname. According to this version of the legend, Okiku worked as a lady-in-waiting for Kita Gemba, a key retainer for Lord Aoyama in the Amagasaki domain. The year was 1696, and Okiku was a beautiful, kind woman who caught Kita's attention. Kita's wife, of course, wasn't very happy with this servant stealing her husband's attention away from her, so she devised a plan to get rid of the woman, once and for all. The plan was very simple. She snuck some needles into the food Okiku was about to serve her husband. When her husband bit into the food and pierced himself with the needle, he would naturally accuse Okiku of the deed, seeing as she was his servant and the one who served him the meal. Just as he was about to bite into his food, he noticed something sparkling and, indeed, found the needle. But it wasn't just one needle. The food was full of them. His wife wasn't one for subtlety, it seems, but her plan went off without a hitch anyway. Kita lost his mind and demanded to know who had put the needles in his food. His wife accused Okiku, claiming to have seen her personally put the needles in, and Kita took her at her word. Clearly, he wasn't the smartest man because he didn't question why his wife saw this and yet didn't say a thing about it to him. But either way, he found Okiku, bound her arms behind her back, and then took her to the well outside and pushed her in. Other versions claim that he kept her tied up for a few days first, hanging her upside down and beating her, then pouring water from the well on her when she passed out and starting all over again. Either way, Okiku ended up bound and thrown into the well. She pleaded her innocence until the end, but it was no good. Kita ignored her, and Okiku died bound at the bottom of the well. When Okiku's mother received news of what her daughter had reportedly done, she rushed over to the castle to apologize for her actions, but instead discovered her daughter was already dead at the bottom of the well. Her mother then threw herself in as well, killing herself in the process. After this, Kita and his family suffered misfortune after misfortune, and the other servants whispered that it was all because of Okiku's curse. News of this eventually reached the ears of Lord Aoyama, and needless to say, he was not pleased. Kita was disgraced, removed from his rank, and forced out of the mansion he inhabited. Fear of Okiku's curse left it abandoned long after that, but it wasn't yet over. 99 years later, in 1795, Kita's descendants found themselves seemingly under attack by a swarm of monstrous bugs. The tachibana orange trees in the family garden were covered in bugs that looked just like a woman with a traditional Japanese hairstyle, and her arms bound behind her back. These bugs apparently chanted a curse towards the remains of the Kita family that finally wiped them out. Locals around the Amagasaki castle dubbed these insects Okiku-mushi because they resembled her story so much. And yes, the Okiku-mushi is a real bug. It's actually the chrysalis of the Chinese windmill butterfly, which can be found all over Asia. If you look closely, you can see that the top part does look like an old-fashioned Japanese hairstyle, and with a little more straining, it somewhat resembles someone with their hands bound behind their back. Just like Okiku apparently was. The appearance of so many of these chrysalises in 1795 led people to believe that the bugs really were Okiku's curse. There were just so damn many of them. When Matsudaira Tadatomi took over the castle, he put out an official notice informing people that the Okiku-mushi is just a chrysalis. It's not the spirit of Okiku, so please calm yourselves. He then built a temple on the remains of the Kita family's former manor, the location where Okiku was killed, and that temple is Jinshoin, which still stands today. Although the strange happenings and hauntings died down after that, people claim that the chrysanthemums planted on the temple grounds in Okiku's honor, with kiku being Japanese for chrysanthemum, never once bloomed. Her curse may have ended, but she clearly still wasn't happy. Hard to blame her, really. And that's the story of the Okiku-mushi, one of the many variants of the Sarayashiki tale and a fascinating folktale about how the Chinese windmill butterfly chrysalis got its nickname. What do you guys think about this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.